And we are back to this episode of One-on-One Sports. As baseball inches closer to the postseason, we're going to spend some time looking at the teams who will be sitting on the couch in October. I'm joined by David to discuss which managers will be on the hot seat. So, David, let's see our manager going to be in the hot seat as the season draws to a close.
I'd say the most obvious one is Showalter with the Baltimore Orioles. Started out 0-21 this season. Yes, you heard that right. The Red Sox, yes, they've had a ridiculously good season, but the Orioles are 60.5 games behind them. And they may not even make it to 50 wins this year, which for a team with the baseball pedigree of the Orioles is really, really bad.
Absolutely, and that division is so tight always. It always seems like 3 of the 4 teams are in playoff contention. We know Boston, best record in the league, right? Yankees got the wild card. The Rays just missed out. The Orioles, they were embarrassing though, weren't they?
They were terrible, and Buck Showalter's been there since 2010. He had Manny Machado, who obviously they let the Dodgers have him because why keep him on such a terrible team? But this team's in full rebuild mode, and Buck Showalter's not going to be part of it.
All right, who else you got?
I've got Bruce Bochy with the Giants, and I know what you're thinking. He won 3 World Series there. Yes, but most of that team is either hurt, retired, or on a different team. The pitching staff is not nearly what it used to be. Pablo Sandoval's gone. Buster Posey seems to always be hurt. There's no consistency with the Giants, and they've had 2 losing seasons in a row, don't really contend in the NL West anymore. And San Francisco, in this point, is a what have you done for me lately attitude. And for Bruce Bochy, he hasn't done very much.
Absolutely. When you look at it, they're only 12 games below 500, which doesn't seem that bad, but you touched on it exactly. There's a lot of internal problems. They just fired the GM, Bobby Evans, too. So you really think that Bochy's going to be next? And how many people are going to fire in this offseason?
Well, that's the interesting thing about the Giants is Bud Black with the Padres, you could say be the same deal, but it's not as important in San Diego.
Right.
That doesn't have the pedigree as it is in San Francisco, where you're supposed to win World Series and supposed to be consistent.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
hasn't been consistent.
Giants are used to winning, not winning this year, though. Who else you got?
I've got Ron Gardenhire with the Tigers. He's in his first season as the manager in Detroit, but he's 30 games below 500. He doesn't have much of a team to build around. Miguel Cabrera, obviously the Tigers' star player, he's hurt, and at his age, he may choose not to come back at all. And Gardenhire managed for over a decade in the AL Central with the Twins. You would think he would know enough about that division to be able to make a turnaround quick enough and not be 30 games under 500.
Exactly, and the Tigers haven't made the playoffs since 2014. That's not obviously not all Ron Gardenhire's fault, but something's got to change there. You think there are going to be personnel changes in Detroit too?
I think there kind of has to be, and like I mentioned with Miguel Cabrera, if he chooses not to come back, you have to have a new centerpiece somewhere, whether that's Alex Avila or somewhere else or a young pitcher, but you lose that cornerstone and somebody who, in Ron Gardenhire, is about to turn 61. Do you want to start a full rebuild with him driving the ship? I'm not sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Probably maybe even look younger. One thing we know for sure, the NL wild card race is heating up, and so are these hot seats under these managers. David, thank you for joining us. That is all the time we have for this hot seat edition of One-on-One Sports. When we come back, we'll take a look at possible trade destinations for Jimmy Butler. Stick around.